This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 28th day of January in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. After a debate that included one member of parliament waving around a look-alike marijuana spliff, the APNU-AFC piloted Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Amendment Bill was voted down today as the government introduced its own bill and got that sent to a special select committee. The opposition bill, which was taken to the House by Member of Parliament Sherrod Duncan, sought to increase the amount of marijuana a person would need to have in their possession for it to be considered a trafficking of drugs offense. The opposition wanted the amount to be increased from the current 15 grams to 500 grams. In introducing the bill, Mr. Duncan explained that far too many persons were languishing behind bars for small amounts of marijuana. He reminded that it was the APNU-AFC while in government that first raised the issue in the National Assembly.
We have had thousands of our young people that CARICOM points out are no better off from incarceration in terms of curbing their use of marijuana, cannabis, weed, however you describe it.
But Duncan's arguments were shot down by Government Minister Priya Manik-Chand, who argued that the APNU-AFC should have passed the bill while it was in government. She described the legislation as not good enough and said the government's bill should be the one which goes forward.
Today, we are reinforcing our intention by the laying of a bill by the Attorney General that we will meet and serve the needs of the persons who find themselves using small amounts and being in possession of small amounts of marijuana because we care. We care about those people. We care about them not being incarcerated.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal told the opposition that the government side will not pass the opposition champion bill, since they had a chance to do so while they were in office but never did.
The PPP never promised in 2015 anything about legalizing marijuana. We never promised that. Not in 2015. So 2015, you won the elections and you occupied the government. And as the distinguished member of Agriculture, Education explained in a series of articles reported in the newspaper, you did not deliver upon that promise.
And in his contribution on the issue, opposition member of parliament and former Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan said while everyone may not agree with the increase in the quantum, it does not mean that everyone will become a criminal or would deal with marijuana. The intention, he emphasized, is to ensure that jail terms are avoided.
The 90% of the country obviously against this thing. But it is what it is that is the purpose behind it. To ensure jail terms are avoided. We have had too many of our young people in jail for terms of 3 years and more sometimes for these small amounts.
While the government side heavily criticized the bill, the opposition side argued that the bill is the closest to the recommendations coming from CARICOM and the World Health Organization on marijuana. The government bill, which also seeks to reduce custodial sentences for small amounts of marijuana, has been sent to a special select committee and is likely to be open for public consultation before it makes its way back into the National Assembly for debate. More news coming up in just a moment.
I'm a lover of dancing since a small I danced the foxtrot. I feel a pain in the foot.
Lymphatic filariasis can be a chronic disease and left long enough without being treated or identified can cause debilitation. If you're infected as a child, It's there, it multiplies in your system, in your body for years until it actually causes damage to the lymphatic system.
So when it started to swell, I couldn't wear sandal, I couldn't wear a shoe.
The stigma that's attached to them, it's something that's overwhelming.
Yeah, these times your name changed. You're no longer who you are, Bigfoot lady.
When they used to share these tablets, I used to disregard them. And when I know the importance of the tablet, when I got this foot, then when they come around again and give me tablets, I throw down my throat in front of them and say, when I go inside and drink some water.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
What if eliminating lymphatic filariasis was as easy as running the 50-meter sprint? Guyana is then well advanced in the race to eliminate lymphatic filariasis, known commonly as Filaria. As we are crossing the finish line, let us remember that this chronic infectious illness can survive in our bodies for years unknowingly before triggering health conditions like hydrocele and elephantitis. What we also know from the current global pandemic is that chronic conditions put you at a higher risk of complications when contracting COVID-19. Your best prevention method is taking your Filaria tablets during the mass drug administration campaign. This is the step that takes Guyana closer to the finish line of eliminating Filaria as a public health problem. A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Guyana is turning to the international community for assistance in ensuring the safe return of the Guyanese crew and their vessels who remain detained in neighboring Venezuela. Minister of Foreign Affairs Hugh Todd told the National Assembly this morning that Guyana remains concerned about the ongoing detention of the 12 Guyanese fishermen by the authorities in Venezuela.
Guyana has strongly condemned the illegal detention of its citizens and the illegal seizure of their fishing vessels by the Venezuelan Navy. As I speak, my ministry continues to engage the international community to resolve this issue in the most peaceful and diplomatic manner.
Mr. Todd also told the National Assembly that he had discussions virtually with the Venezuelan foreign minister on the issue. Venezuela has been insisting that the two fishing vessels were in its territorial waters, but the Guyana government maintains that the vessels were within Guyana's exclusive economic zone. The minister told the National Assembly that there was increased activity by the Venezuelan Navy in Guyana's maritime space, following the recent decree by the Venezuelan government laying claim to Guyana's maritime space.
Following the announcement of President Maduro's decree of January 7th, there was increased activity in Guyana's maritime space by Venezuelan Navy vessels and other Venezuelan state assets. Such illegal activity continues to undermine Guyana's development by threatening Guyana's sovereign rights of its maritime space and hindering economic activity. Proving this threat is the unfortunate incident of January 21st, 2021, when two Guyanese fishing vessels, namely Lady Nayera and Seawolf, were intercepted by Venezuelan naval vessel Comandante Hugo Chavez CG-24 off the coast of Guinea Point, and this is well within Guyana's territory. The crew on both vessels were illegally detained by the Venezuelan government and are currently still in detention in Port Valera.
The Foreign Affairs Minister noted the support that Guyana has been getting from the international community on the issue, including an OAS resolution which demanded that Venezuela releases the Guyanese fishermen and their boats. Despite the international backlash, Venezuela has still moved ahead with instituting charges against the Guyanese fishermen in their custody. Still on that Venezuelan issue, the Caribbean Community CARICOM and the Government of Canada have become the latest international partners of Guyana, calling on the Venezuelan government to release the 12 Guyanese fishermen and their vessels that have been detained in Venezuela for over a week. In a statement, CARICOM, which has its headquarters in Guyana, expressed its grave concern at the escalation of tensions between Guyana and Venezuela, caused by the interception and detention of the Guyanese fishing vessels and the crew in Guyana's exclusive economic zone by Venezuela. The regional body said the crew members and their vessels should be released immediately. CARICOM has also urged the Venezuelan government to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Guyana, and to desist from aggressive acts that will seriously undermine the peace and security not only of Guyana and Venezuela, but the entire Caribbean region. In a three-line statement, the Government of Canada said it supports Guyana in calling for the immediate release of the two Guyanese fishing vessels that were detained by the Maduro regime. Canada has also repeated the call for international law to be respected. Despite the mounting pressure, Caracas does not appear to be budging on its position that the vessels were in its waters, even as Guyana maintains that the vessels were within Guyana's exclusive economic zone. Let's tell you now that Guyana recorded 90 new cases of coronavirus in the past 24 hours, taking the total number of new cases recorded since the start of January to 1,114. That's according to figures from the Ministry of Health. Of the 90 new cases recorded as of midnight last night, 66 are from Region 4. The majority of new cases recorded so far for the year are from Region 4, which continues to see the most flouting of the coronavirus regulations. The figures released by the Ministry of Health today also reveal that there are 7 persons in the coronavirus intensive care unit, and the total number of active cases stands at 754. Figures obtained by news source on the 175 COVID-19 related deaths that have been recorded in Guyana reveals that more than 50% of the deaths are from Region 4. According to the stats, Region 4 has recorded 93 of the 175 coronavirus-related deaths. Region 1 has recorded the second highest number of deaths, with 29 deaths on record, followed by Region 7 with 13 deaths, Regions 3, 6, and 10 with 8 deaths each, Regions 2 and 9 with 4 deaths, while Region 5 has recorded 5 deaths, and there have been 3 deaths in Region 8. As the number of coronavirus cases continue to climb in the country and the vaccines are not likely to get here until after March, there are calls for stricter enforcement of the COVID-19 regulations and a possible lockdown to stem the spread. A lockdown is unlikely as the government has been pushing to balance the need to safeguard the population with the need for business to continue, but with precautions. Many government agencies are returning to their regular working schedule, with the rotation system in many departments and agencies being discontinued. Well, despite measures being put in place to safeguard prisoners and prison officers, a number of new cases of coronavirus have been recorded at 3 of the country's prisons. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony told the National Assembly this afternoon that 60 new COVID cases have been recorded at the Lusignan prison, while there are 33 prisoners who have tested positive at the Tamari prison. Additionally, 4 prison officers and 1 prisoner have tested positive for the virus at the New Amsterdam jail. The health minister said all of those who tested positive have since been isolated, and additional measures are being put in place to safeguard other prisoners and prison staff.
And already we have taken measures in place to be able to isolate all those persons and have them separate from the general population. We also saw, as of today, we have 4 prison officers in New Amsterdam who have tested positive, and 1 prisoner at New Amsterdam have tested positive, and we have isolated them. So we are there to offer service. And in fact, during September last year, we have added more nurses and doctors to the prison service so that they can help in terms of protecting people's lives by offering this type of service. They have put special measures in place when you have an intake of a new prisoner, things that they'll have to go through, screen and so forth, before they enter into the general population. And anybody visiting would have to now go through some special procedures.
Back in September, there was a major outbreak of coronavirus in the Lusignan jail when more than 200 cases were detected. Those persons were removed from the prison and placed in isolation at a government facility along the Linden-Suslike Highway. Since then, there have been ongoing efforts to stem the spread within the prison system. Well, following numerous complaints regarding substandard concrete blocks being sold on the market, the Guyana National Bureau of Standards has advanced its capacity to test concrete blocks with the introduction of a laboratory. Concrete hollow blocks can now be tested at the Body Sophia location. Since last year, the GNBS commenced preparations for the facility, which included the acquisition of the necessary equipment and the training of staff to make available testing services to stakeholders. The service is important according to the GNBS, since the body feels that concrete block makers need to understand the compressive strength of the blocks that they are making. Public Relations Officer at the GNBS, Lloyd David.
And of course, ultimately this will benefit the consumers because they will not have to buy blocks that are defective or weak in strength. You know, sometimes when you buy the blocks, just by picking them up, they separate and fall apart in your hands. The GMBS has been receiving a number of complaints regarding this and believe that it is very important that we offer such a service.
Mr. David also explained that for testing purposes, block makers will be required to submit between 1 to 5 blocks, which constitute one sample.
It can either be 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, or 8-inch blocks to the GNBS. The testing will take about 3 to 5 days, and at the end of the process, they will receive a certificate. That certificate will have the results of the testing that was conducted, which will allow them to understand the strength of the blocks they are manufacturing. And of course, they can determine whether they need to increase their strength so that can make stronger blocks, or they might be doing just as well as conforming to the requirements of the standard. So there might not be a need to increase or improve what they are doing.
The GNBS is pushing for block makers to utilize the service, which can aid in the adherence to the national standards. While the GNBS is pushing for increased testing, it is willing to offer guidance to those manufacturers whose products fall below standards to bring them on par to what is required. Well, a 30-year-old woman was arrested by the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit on Wednesday after she attempted to ship a cocaine-laden box of Guyanese snacks abroad. The arrested woman has been identified by KANU as Patrina Pilgrim of North Road Border here in Georgetown. A statement from KANU revealed that 534 grams of cocaine was found in the false bottom of the box that contained coconut biscuits, mitai, chicken foot, and other local snacks. The box was being shipped through Caribbean Airlines at the Eugene F. Correa Airport at Ogle. It was destined for an address in Brooklyn, New York. A number of other persons are being sought in connection with the same shipment. The arrested woman is expected to face the court before the end of this week.
I'm a lover of dancing from since I small. I danced the foxtrot, very feel a pain in the foot.
Lymphatic filariasis can be a chronic disease, and left long enough without being treated or identified can cause debilitation. If you're infected as a child, it's there, it multiplies in your system, in your body for years until it actually causes damage to the lymphatic system.
So when it started to swell, I couldn't wear sandal, I couldn't wear a shoe.
The stigma that's attached to them, it's something that's overwhelming.
Yeah, these times your name changed. You're no longer who you are, Bigfoot lady.
When they used to share these tablets, I used to disregard them. And when I know the importance of the tablet, when I got this foot, then when they come around again and give me tablets, I throw down my throat in front of them and say, when I go inside and drink some water.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
Mobile Dalvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Dalvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Due to the impacts of the global pandemic, COVID-19 across our nation, essential organizations like us have chosen to adopt innovative approaches to meet the emerging needs of our customers while protecting our employees. Here are some quick tips to make managing your GPL bill easier while we practice social distancing. To register for electronic billing, you can use the e-billing tab on your website. To access your bill balance, you can use 4 options: the website live chat at gpl.net, the online inquiry on our website under billing, SMS Freedom by texting your GPL reference number to 624-0400 or 608-8400, or call our call center at 226-2600. A message from the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
What if eliminating lymphatic filariasis was as easy as running the 50-meter sprint? Guyana is then well advanced in the race to eliminate lymphatic filariasis, known commonly as Filaria. As we are crossing the finish line, let us remember that this chronic infectious illness can survive in our bodies for years unknowingly before triggering health conditions like hydrocele and elephantitis. What we also know from the current global pandemic is that chronic conditions put you at a higher risk of complications when contracting COVID-19. Your best prevention method is taking your Filaria tablets during the mass drug administration campaign. This is the step that takes Guyana closer to the finish line of eliminating Filaria as a public health problem. A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, the government of the British Virgin Islands says it is prepared to offer assistance to St. Vincent and the Grenadines as officials continue to monitor the activities of the Sophia volcano. The volcano is being monitored by regional and international authorities, even as a report from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency said the volcano continues to exude magma and steam, and residents have been warned to brace for strong sulfuric smells. According to the Deputy Premier for the BVI, though St. Vincent and the Grenadines has not called on the territory for assistance, both countries have a strong relationship. So far, St. Lucia has given the assurance that it will be willing to take residents if the volcano forces them to leave their homes. The University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center in Trinidad and Tobago has advised that based on the complex patterns of previous eruptions, it is too early to conclude that the current activity will remain as it is. The Centers for Disease Control in the U.S. says it plans to move the Bahamas from a Level 4 travel health notice to the less serious Level 3, based on lower numbers of COVID-19 that have been recorded in recent weeks. In making the announcement on Wednesday, Prime Minister Hubert Minnis said the reassessment came after discussions between the governments of the Bahamas and the U.S. The Prime Minister made a statement as he opened a debate on a resolution to extend the state of emergency to the 23rd of May. He also suggested that the emergency order was an important factor in the CDC's decision. The Bahamas had been under a Level 4 health notice since back in December. A Level 4 notice indicates a very high level of COVID-19 and means that travelers should avoid all travel to that destination. To date, the Bahamas has confirmed more than 8,000 COVID-19 cases. And finally tonight, international news. The African Union has secured an additional 400 million doses of the coronavirus vaccines for the continent. Together with doses that the Union has already reserved and those to be made available by the World Health Organization-backed COVAX scheme, this brings the total number of vaccines for Africa to 1.27 billion. Africa needs about 1.5 billion doses to immunize 60% of its population, the threshold for herd immunity. Most nations have not started vaccinating, lacking funds to do so. Initiatives to help them have struggled to put in orders as wealthier countries are accused of bulk buying the vaccines. Earlier this week, South Africa's leading coronavirus expert, Salim Abdul, told the BBC that such behavior was unconscionable, warning that no one is safe until everyone is safe. The rollout of mass vaccination programs across Africa may now begin in March, though not all supplies will be available by then. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting. Stay safe